What I've got right here is the Sigma 10-18 F2.8, a super wide angled zoom lens for Sony APS-C cameras. This is actually the first time I've ever tried out a super wide angled lens for APS-C cameras, and this thing is great. However, it's entirely possible that this is also a secret full frame lens. More on that a little bit later on, but for now, let's start by talking about the size and design of this plucky little lens. Sigma are calling this the smallest APS-C ultra-wide zoom lens with a constant f2.8 aperture, and you know what? I find it hard to disagree with them. I mean, this thing is tiny. Look at it sized up to a Sigma 18-50, which is already considered a small lens in itself, and speaking of which, the design is very similar. Good materials being used all round, allowing this lens to be durable and lightweight. And speaking of the weight, this lens only weighs 255 grams. With this lens being so small, you won't find any custom buttons or AF to MF switch on it, which is understandable to maintain that compact design. The zoom locker and focus ring are both very smooth, which is really nice to see, and on the back of the lens there is a rubber gasket which gives this lens an extra level of weather sealing against dust and moisture. When it comes to straight up image quality, things from this lens look excellent. It's a really nice sharp lens at all focal lengths. I was shooting most of these shots at f2.8 to try and see if I could expose any flaws, and there are very little to report. Colour and contrast are fantastic, it's razor sharp even in the corners when wide open. When it comes to distortion, this lens does very well, and chromatic aberration is controlled exceptionally within this lens. From my time testing out this lens, I was surprised to find that this lens is actually pretty alright if you want to do some basic macro photography. I found it does its best work at the 10mm end, and I was roughly less than 5 centimeters away from my subject while still being able to maintain focus. And with the nature of this focal length, it makes for some pretty cool dramatic close-up shots. Without a doubt, I would definitely put this lens up against the best of the best when it comes to ultra-wide lenses for APS-C cameras. If you're someone who finds himself shooting landscapes, star trails, cityscapes, architecture, even real estate, a lens like this is ideal for that kind of work. When it comes to autofocus for photography, this thing is spot on. Like with any Sigma APS-C lens, it's fast, it's accurate, and it's reliable. The things we always like to hear. I'm sure we also don't mind hearing that this lens is equally good for video as it is for photography. I will actually go as far to say that this is possibly one of the best APS-C lenses right now on the market for vlogging. Allow me to show you. Here we go then, a vlog test with the Sigma 10-18mm. I have paired it with the Sony a6700, and just look how wide that is. Look at that, that is insane. That is incredible right there. That 10mm is something else. This is tip top for a vlogging lens. I tell you what, this is probably one of the best vlogging lenses currently on the market for the a6700 and any a6000 series of camera, but especially the a6700, because the big benefit with this camera is it does have 5-axis in-body stabilization. So this right here is going to be mighty smooth. It's going to be really stable, and it's just so easy to walk around with as well because this setup is so lightweight, and I can get even more stabilization out of this camera if I want to by switching over to active, which we'll do right now. So admittedly, it might be hard to tell, but I am in active steady shot mode, which does slightly crop into your image, but because of how wide this focal length is, you can't even tell that it has cropped into my image, and now I have the benefit of having active steady shot on. This is just an unbeatable combo. This is completely insane right here. Now at this point, some of you might be wondering, Curtis, why are you doing all these vlog tests at a train station? Well, this is actually the North Yorkshire Moors Railway, and this is where they run all the steam trains, but unfortunately at this time of year none of them are running, so we're probably not going to see any today. But I have got a fun fact for you. This is Goathland Station, and this is famous because, do you know the Harry Potter films? Do you know the Hogwarts Station? This is where they filmed all of those scenes. So right at the beginning of today's video, I said that this lens could also be a possible secret full frame lens. Now, I say that because a year or so ago, Matty Apoya released a brilliant video speaking about the Sony 10-18 F4, and he showed that that lens could actually be used on full frame cameras. And it got me wondering, with this Sigma 10-18, does it grant those same powers? And you know what? It actually does. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch from the Sony 16-35 to the 10-18. So here we go. We're now on the Sigma 10-18 on a full frame camera. I'm using this with the Sony a7S III, and I've got active stabilization mode. And what I'm going to do now is go from 18 all the way to 10mm. Look how wide that is. That is actually insane. Like, I can't get my arms in the corner. It is so wide. It makes this studio look massive. It makes me feel so far away from the camera when I'm actually not. I am, what, maybe 50 centimeters or so away from it. I mean, I could be right here. I'm literally right in front of the lens, and it feels like I am so far away from it. This lens is just incredible. It's bonkers. Now, there is a couple of downsides. You might notice in the corner, there is a bit of vignetting. If you can't see it, what I'll do is I'll bump up the exposure so you can actually see that vignetting, and it's also in the corners at the bottom as well. But what you can do to actually eliminate that is just go to about 12mm. And now at 12mm, that vignetting's gone. That is just so good. But the funny thing is as well, you could just sit at 10mm and all you need to do is just crop into your image ever so slightly to eliminate it. And it's not like you're going to accidentally crop yourself out this shot because, oh, look how wide it is. But I would say the most usable focal length for this lens is around 12 to 18, maybe 12 to 17, because there is a little bit of vignetting as well in the corners, ever so slight at the 18mm end, but it's so minute and it's so usable. And I tell you what, if I actually own this lens, unfortunately I don't. Sigma UK very kindly lent it to me to test out, but I might actually have to get myself one in the future. Want to save some money up to get the A6700 first. But the funny thing is, it's £599. And that's really good for APS-C users, but also full frame users as well. Because for an example, this right here is the Sony 16-35. This is the lens I normally use for vlogging, and it is quite heavy, it is quite bulky, but it is absolutely incredible, and I love it. But it is £1,800. So this lens right here is 3 times cheaper. Oh, it is a bit nippy out here, but I thought, you know what, let's give this lens a proper vlog test with a full frame camera. So I've got this paired with the Sony a7 IV. I'm actually on a dog water billy right now, so I thought this was a good excuse. Get him out and get some vlog tests done. Now, one thing I've noticed straight away with putting a variable ND filter on the front is that it's quite a bit extra vignetting. Now, there is a good reason for that, and that is because this is a 72mm filter stepped down to 6.7. So if you are going to use it on full frame cameras, what I'd recommend is getting a filter that fits it perfectly to prevent that. Now, speaking of filters, there is actually a big benefit with this lens compared to full frame ultra wide lenses, and that is there is no fisheye on the front of it, which means on full frame cameras you can't really put variable ND filters or any kind of filters on the front, whilst this lens I can. So I can film with it outdoors without a problem. I think the biggest downside with this lens and using it on a full frame camera is the focal length. Because it's only a usable 12 to 18mm, if you want a lens that's going to give you those cinematic 24 or 35 b-roll shots, this lens ain't it. This lens has a very specific use case for filmmaking and content creation, and that of course is a bit of vlogging. Unfortunately, we haven't got much snow left, but I think Billy's been enjoying it. And you, bud, you got a bit of snow on you? Good lad. And can I just draw your attention for a second to the compact package we have here. On the top of my Sony a7S III, I have the microphone, then I've got the camera itself, and then I've got this tiny lens. This is so easy to walk around with every day, do a bit of filming with, because it's so lightweight. I mean, I don't even need one of those Joby tripods underneath, because I could just hold it by the lens, because it's such a nice compact setup. That's what I love about this lens and using it with full frame cameras. And that compact nature also goes double for when you're using it with an APS-C camera like the A6700. As you can probably tell, I've really enjoyed my time using this lens. I found it really versatile for a lot of areas of photography. For video, as you've clearly seen, I absolutely love it. And that compact design is brilliant if you want a lens that you could just carry around with you on the daily. And it's also quite affordable for what it's offering. So would I recommend this lens? Absolutely. If you're on the market and you need an ultra wide zoom lens, then the Sigma 10-18 F2.8 is a stellar choice. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can go and check it out for yourself if you fancy. Now, I don't want to get all conspiracy theory on you, but just bear with for a second because this is a good one. I think Sigma are working on making a holy trinity of lenses for APS-C cameras, because think about it, we've got the 10-18, then we've got the 18-50. Could we see in the near future from Sigma f50 to 150 at a constant f2.8 aperture? That would be incredible for APS-C users to have a holy trinity. Sigma, you are so close to making it happen. Please make that lens. But anyway, I think that's wishful thinking for the future. For now, let me know what you think about the 10-18 in the comment section below. And if you want to see a video on the 18-50, one of the most versatile lenses for APS-C cameras, a lens that I would recommend to nearly anybody, then check out this video right here. And if you want to see a night POV with the Sony a6700, then definitely check out this video up here. And if you did like today's video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It would be great to have you on board of this ever so growing community. But with all that said, until next time, create, explore, and inspire. And I'll see you in the next one.